Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Summer solstice starts this Saturday.
This Saturday. Excellent. It's a hot one today, so enjoy. Summer is upon us.
Yes.
So today we are going to talk about multiple offers, and the reason we're doing this is because there are so many multiple offers going on. If you're looking at the stats, we still have very low inventory, and we posted the stats from Ari, Colorado onto the Facebook page yesterday, so we're not really going to go into stats today. We want to make sure we can
And we've got
dive.
the full DMAR stats report and the weekly update from yesterday as well.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So take a look at those. You'll see we're busy. We're really, you guys are slammed. And
Yeah,
again,
not you.
You.
Yes. You
Yes.
guys are really busy.
We're busy too,
Yeah.
answering your questions. But no, you guys are out selling and working with clients, and the multiple offers is tough. So really, we're going to talk a little bit about how to help your buyers get maybe that home that they're trying to get when they're competing multiple offers, but we've already done that. So really today is about just more, how do you use the multiple offers spreadsheet?
Do you even know we have a multiple offer spreadsheet?
Yeah, when you're working with a listing and you've got 3, 5, 19 offers coming in, and how to really decipher and see which one's the best one, you have to be using this spreadsheet.
Yeah, really, if you have any more than 2 offers, you can compare offer number 1 and offer number 2 pretty well side by side. But you have 3 or more offers, you need to be using the spreadsheet.
Yeah. So let's dive into, where do I find the
Where do
spreadsheet?
we find it?
So
We're going to go to Handy Dandy Elevate.
So I've already got it up here, and let's make sure that I'm actually seeing what I want to be seeing. Hopefully, let's double check and make sure that it switches here.
Yeah, there's always a little delay on that. So it'll take us just a second to see it. But when you log into Elevate, you're just going to go to the main screen.
Oops, sorry. Oh, we're back.
Let's go back to Elevate. You're going to log into the main screen, and then here on your main portal, you're going to see the training tab in your upper left-hand corner. So click on training. And then you're going to click on how-tos in the bottom right-hand corner. And if you guys aren't familiar with the how-tos, you need to go check this out because it's pretty awesome. So under the seller side, I'm wanting to say it's seller side. Actually, it's under our helpful seller side transaction resources. And then there is the multiple offer spreadsheet right there on top. And when you open it, we've already got preset fields, which you can modify and change. We just put in some of the most common ones that are going to help you. The blank version is right here. So you can see across the top, this is pulling up the old stuff. Across the top, you've got offer 1, offer 2, offer 3, offer 4, and then along the left-hand side, we've got a place for the buyer name so you can keep track of what offer is what. You can put in purchase price, you can put in earnest money, down payment, loan amount, loan type, whether they're pre-qualified or pre-approved, title, inspection, appraisal, whether there's a home sale contingency, if they have their home already under contract and they just need to get it closed, or if they still need to sell it and get it under contract with the buyer, you can mark that. You can put in other conditions if there's other terms with the contract, the response time, so you know when your sellers are supposed to be getting back on these offers, and then information on closing date, possession date, inclusions, other seller expenses, and then there's an other field in there for just miscellaneous additional provisions and things like that. So I'm going to show you what this looks like when it's actually put into practice. So when you click on this one over here, this was a recent listing that I put on the market in Castle Rock last Friday, and we had a total of 8 offers come in. I've got 7 on the spreadsheet. The 8th one actually came in after they had already accepted one of these. So I went through and I filled in the purchase price for each of these, the earnest money amount, down payment, all of the categories, so then I could send this over to my clients along with a copy of each offer. And the reason for the spreadsheet is because, one, your eyes are going to go cross-eyed if you're looking at 7 different offers, and so are your clients, because they don't know how to read a real estate contract. So pulling out the really important information is going to be key. So I went through and put in all of the price and terms for each offer, when the inspection dates were, when the appraisal dates were, if there were any appraisal gap clauses, if there were any limited inspection language, possession, inclusions, and then in the bottom, I actually added my own little category to the spreadsheet if I provided an update to the buyer's agent after my seller selected an offer, just so I could keep track of who did I call and say, hey, we've accepted another offer. Would your buyer like to go in backup position? So what I did is I highlighted the categories that I wanted my seller to focus in on, just because there's a lot of different nuances to the spreadsheet. So I thought purchase price was very important. And as we have discussed before, the purchase price or the highest purchase price doesn't always make it the best offer. So let's talk about some of the other important things when you're reviewing these offers with your sellers, just so that they can choose what they think is going to be the most qualified buyer with the highest terms. So we've got purchase price highlighted in yellow. We've got the loan types. I thought that was kind of important for my clients to know whether it was conventional, FHA, or VA. And then I would discuss the pros and cons of all of those types of financing. I put the inspection dates on there just so we could see if there was someone that was doing a quicker inspection than another. As you can see, offer number 2 had a July 3rd inspection, which was kind of a lengthy time frame. I also put in there whether there was a house to sell, so a home sale contingency. Were these buyers contingent? And there would be a domino effect if for some reason their home didn't close. So there were a couple places where you'll see no, you'll see yes for home sale contingencies. One of the offers did have an appraisal gap, so I put that in there, knowing that I would need to explain that to my client, but that was kind of a placeholder so that I didn't forget. And then I put in appraisal deadlines, any other logistical information. So in the other box at the very bottom of the spreadsheet, I put in some of the favorable terms or some of the red flags. So the first offer, offer number 1, had loan approval 5 days before closing, which was really a nice perk, knowing well in advance that that buyer was going to be able to close, that their loan termination deadline would be done by July 9th. Offer number 2 had an inspection termination deadline of July 17th. That's the longest inspection termination deadline I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
That was like a 4-week inspection termination. I also put that the approval letter stated that the buyer's max purchase price was $417,500, yet they offered $425,000. So those were just a couple red flags on that particular offer.
So how's that happen? I mean, I guess what I'm pointing out is when I say, how's that happen? It's your job as the buyer's agent to make sure that your offer is as well written and all of the little things are checked appropriately, and that you look at that approval letter.
Yes.
Because they probably were approved for $425,000.
And they just didn't update it?
Maybe they did an offer earlier and they used the same one at $417,500. But these little things are triggers for a listing agent to go, you know what? This agent isn't really on top of it. And when you've got this many offers, you're not just looking at a great offer and a great buyer. You're looking at working with a great agent.
Right. Exactly. And you know, it very well could be the case where this inspection termination deadline was supposed to be June 17th. And he made a mistake and put July 17th.
True.
But because I review contracts like a hawk, those two things caught me. And I don't have time nor the energy to call an agent and say, you just made these 2 mistakes. Were those intentional mistakes? Nope, we're going to just move on to the next best offer.
Exactly.
So anyways, just little things to be careful of when you're reviewing your contracts. So offer number 3, they had a escalation clause. So did offer number 4. Offer number 5, the realtor was waiving some of his commission and said that the buyers were going to keep inspection items to a minimum. So what we ended up determining when I went through the spreadsheet with my clients, which they were pretty pleased to have all of these numbers written in a concise manner, so they didn't have to review 20 some pages of 7 different contracts. They determined that offer number 3 and offer number 4 looked very, very appealing to them. So just a few negotiating strategy tips for you guys, because I know you guys are asking questions about how can I leverage offers against each other when I'm on the seller side. We determined that buyer number 3, offer number 3, had a escalation clause up to $435, and offer number 4, although they offered $445, they were willing to go up to $453. You'll see I made a note in that other box that this looked like it was a newer agent, which was not a negative. And I explained to my clients that was not a negative, but I found 10 or 12 mistakes in this contract. Boxes that weren't checked. She left out dates and deadlines. There were a ton of things wrong with this contract. So I brought that to their attention. My recommendation to them was offer number 3 is a really, really solid offer. They're just not as high as offer number 4. Offer number 3 is more desirable because they have an appraisal gap clause. I called the offer number 4 agent and said, would your buyers be willing to bridge the gap between appraisal and offer price in the event that it comes low? Because you guys are offering $25,000 over list price.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And we're not so sure that it's going to appraise for that. And she said, no, they can't afford to do that. So the value of offer number 4 went down in my client's eyes when they said, well, what if it only appraises for list price? So we reached out to offer number 3, even though they were the lower of the two, and said, would you be willing to match the purchase price of offer number 4 and still use your $10,000 appraisal gap clause? And they said yes. So offer number 3 ended up being the winner in this situation, even though they weren't necessarily the highest offer coming in. So that's kind of how I did the spreadsheet, how my clients made that decision. And they didn't just jump all over that offer number 4 being the highest one, because there were a lot of things that were wrong with that contract that we thought might be issues down the road. So trying to avoid pitfalls.
Yeah. So, I mean, that sheet it's so useful for you and for your client. And like Stacey said, the sellers determined which offer to go with.
Yes, exactly. And they definitely asked for my guidance on certain categories and certain things. And that's my job, to give advice and guidance, and to help them avoid those pitfalls that could come 3 weeks down the road. So yeah, they were really excited, as they should be. So, and felt like they were very well educated on everything that they had received. And they did get a copy, as I recommend you do with all of your clients. Everything I received from those agents, my clients got. So the pre-approval letters, copies of all the contracts, I wanted them to have everything in their hand, not to just hear that Stacey said, oh, these are what the offers look like, and only sending them the spreadsheet. Don't just send them the spreadsheet, send them everything.
Right. So what are some tips when writing an offer so that you can present your offer in the best light? I mean, obviously, purchase price is a big one. Cash is nice, but there are some little nuances that you can do as well. So what would some of those be? Yeah, and so utilizing that spreadsheet is really helpful, because these are the key things that buyers or sellers and sellers agents are going to be looking for. So a couple of the nuances that you may or may not see in the marketplace, in addition to price, is the appraisal gap clause, which we talked about. So if the buyer offers over asking price in the event that the appraisal comes in low, is the buyer willing to bring extra cash to closing in order to achieve that purchase price for the seller? Or are they going to get to the appraisal, it comes in low, and they're going to say, well, Mr. Seller, we've kind of got you leveraged, and we want you to reduce the price. So that's a really good one. I've actually seen a lot of people doing an increase on the earnest money. And even though there's, all the major milestones in the contract for the buyer to get the earnest money back, it does show the sellers that you were just that much more committed to the property if you add a couple extra $1,000 to your earnest money. So if it's $5,000, maybe you come in with $8,000 or $10,000, just to really show your seriousness. So that's a good one, and doesn't create a ton of risk for the buyer involved. The other one that I really, really like that only happened with one of these offers was the lender calling me. Yeah.
That's my favorite one. Only one. And for the longest time, that offer was in the front running because the agent was so well put together and the lender was so good. And then they just couldn't compete with price on some of the other ones. But have your lender call and say, the buyer's credit's been run. I've reviewed all of their documents. They've been through automatic underwriting. I haven't just taken their application and listened to what they told me. I've actually verified tax returns and bank statements and pay stubs. And right now during COVID, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's real powerful.
Our biggest obstacle right now is people with their jobs, and are they going to have steady employment 30 days from now? Yeah. So
what's a red flag with lenders?
So
one, being out of town.
Yeah, exactly. Out of state lenders are not my favorite because they don't know all of our Colorado laws. Not all states are good fun states like Colorado is, so that when the buyer and seller sign documents, the money is actually exchanged, and the buyers get the keys and get to move in. Some states, you actually sign documents and then they're held in escrow for a day or two while the money comes in from the lender, because the lender has to review everything and then approve it. So out-of-state lenders would be a red flag. It's not to say that they're all bad.
Not going to. If it's the only offer.
Yes.
Well, then,
But
great.
if you've got a buyer that comes to you and says, oh, I really want to use this lender, they're in Texas, you might tell them, great, let's go ahead and do that. But it could be an obstacle that the seller or the listing agent says, out-of-state lenders, sometimes they're hard to get a hold of, sometimes they don't return calls, and sometimes they don't make closing dates. And
right.
Yeah, they just don't know our nuances. So yes, good question. What else was I going to...
Other tips to make your competitive.
So escalation clauses, it actually worked with my sellers. I don't love them because I don't personally use escalation clauses. I don't recommend you do. I recommend you tell your buyer what is your highest and best, and let's go in with our top. Because when you put in an escalation clause, now we know what your max is. And we're going to counter you back and say, well, you said you'd be willing to go up to this amount. So you just showed all your cards. It ended up working out fine for my clients. But on the buyer agent side, I think you're jeopardizing your buyer and their negotiating power. And I get how you're trying to leverage and put yourself above every other offer. But
it's a lot stronger just to say, I'm willing to pay this
amount.
I want the house, period. And this is my best shot.
Exactly.
If I don't get it, I don't get it. I'm not going to try and, maybe I can save $1,000 or $5,000. You want the house and you go in with a great offer. There you go. You go in hedging your bets.
Yeah.
Good chance you're not going to get it.
Exactly.
And there's issues that can come with legal issues. Watch one of John Goodman's. We have his YouTube channel on our YouTube channel. You can go in and watch him, and he really doesn't like them as well.
Yeah. So there are certain situations where you can leverage those and they'll work. So that's why I bring it up. I will share, and if Julie Felsen is watching, I appreciate she gave me permission to use this statement because I love it. And I wanted to share it with everybody. She asked her buyers what their no regret number is.
Oh, I like that.
I love that. I've never said anything like that. And I think that's great. What's your no regret number? If an offer comes in higher than this number, you won't feel bad because that's your top. But if you get, beat out by $500, were you willing to go up more?
And I've used that for years, this scenario, but I've never had that.
A no regret number.
No regret, because that is important. You don't want to feel, oh man, don't have that feeling. Go and buy the house.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, you're not going to go, I would have paid another $1,000. Then do it now. This is not a time to be negotiating. As you saw the stats, we are not in a buyer's market because the increase in days on market was like 6 to 9 weeks.
But that's again across all Colorado counties.
Values.
All values.
Yeah. Buyer's market, we're talking 4 to 6 months market time. We haven't seen that for years, and we're not going to see it for a long time. So
no regrets number.
No regrets number.
What number will you wake up in the morning and not go, ugh, I overpaid for the house, or ugh, I missed out by $500?
Right.
So I love that. I thought that was great. So other things you can do, quick deadlines. That's always really appealing. Don't have your inspection 3 weeks out. Don't, of course you have to be mindful. Appraisals are taking a little bit longer, things like that, but get that inspection done quickly, and don't have your inspection termination weeks and weeks and weeks out.
Yeah. Move forward with excitement, which means things are clicking off, and that shows that the buyer is going to buy. And they're not hedging, going, they're still a little not sure if they really made the right decision, so they extended all these dates so that they have a little backup wiggle room. You have wiggle room, that makes a seller very nervous when they have 8 other offers to play with.
Yeah, and of course, home sale contingency offers are the least desirable in this market right now, but some buyers have to sell because they're move-up buyers. So just educating your clients on the fact that they need to already have their home on the market, preferably under contract. Not we're writing an offer, we're going to put our home on the market in 2 days, we're going to try and get it under contract by X date. You need to at least be able to show the seller that you've got a qualified buyer that's going to be closing on X date and that their transaction isn't tied to you actually going under contract. So if you have to do a home sale contingency, at least do it with the buyer's home already being under contract. Otherwise, give your buyers some options to try and get their home sold, and whether they're moving in with family, moving into a rental, moving into temporary housing, just so they can write these non-contingent offers, because it's almost impossible right now to get those contingent offers accepted, unless you're a really bulldog realtor. They're tricky because there's a lot of cash buyers and non-contingent buyers out there right now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, yeah.
So Parker, yes, very good. Offer number 4, have 4 times the initial money down compared to the next offer. Did that weigh into the decision?
Yeah, so that did weigh into the decision, but ultimately what I educated my clients on is that at the end of the day, whether the buyer is putting 3.5% down, 10% down, 20%, or 50%, they're going to get a check at closing no matter what.
Yeah. So when we do talk about cash being, wow, cash is exciting, at the end of the day, you're going to get cash anyway. So I think why sometimes we look at cash as maybe being a stronger offer is some of the deadlines are omitted. They're quicker. You don't have maybe they can't get their loan. But if you've got a really strong buyer, he's got a great job, and regardless of the 3%, 10%, 20%, if they're a solid buyer, you're going to get cash.
Exactly. So yes, we can leverage the fact that buyers who are putting more money down, it means they have a stronger savings, that their loan amount's less, which means it's not as hard to qualify for that loan because the loan isn't as big. But at the end of the day, if you have 2 buyers that have the same credit, that have the same, great employment, and their loan is already pre-approved and underwritten, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference to the seller, whether they're putting more money down or not. So
I think those are, thanks. And any other questions you guys got, throw them on Facebook. We're watching it. So with all these multiple offers, hopefully there's some tips there. And again, we already made a video on how to write a strong offer. And it's also on Elevate.
On Elevate, we have everything listed out.
It's all the tips, so if you didn't have to take notes here. But you might as well have a backup offer. With all these offers going on out there, take one of those other offers and make them a backup offer. And we've got...
because I think the statistics... I didn't check last week, but I believe it was an 18% fail rate on contracts right now. So 18% of contracts that were pending were falling out. And most of those were due to job loss, pay cuts, things like that. So it makes a lot of sense to pull your second best offer and have them waiting in the wings just in the event that the buyer number 1 backs out due to cold feet or change of income and employment. So... interactive contract to buy and sell is what we have up in front of you, because I have all of the most common clauses already cut and paste into the additional provisions section 30. So if you're a CTM user and you know how to use all of the clauses, then you don't need to reference this. But if you want to be able to run through real quick and say, where's that backup language that Stacey talked about? Where's the appraisal gap language? Where's the escalation language? Where's the inspection language? I've already got all of these cut and paste in here so that you can find them really, really easily. So number 5 is buyer in backup position. So if you have an offer that the seller did not accept but wants to use as a backup, you create a counter offer. And it doesn't matter how many hours or days have passed since you received this offer, but you will create a counter. You will cut and paste that into the other changes, additional amendments section, and that will automatically put this buyer in backup position. So in the event that the first offer terminates, you can then reach out to the second buyer without having to put the home back on the market and say, hey, would you like to move forward with your contract? One caveat to this, the buyer and seller will sign that counter proposal. A lot of the dates and deadlines will clip by on this offer. So if for some reason it does get moved into first position, you have to amend the closing date, amend your inspection deadlines, all of that stuff, so that it works. And make sure that if there's anything the seller doesn't like in that offer, they counter it now, because once you put this backup language in the counter proposal, all of the terms and conditions of this offer move forward. So if they don't like the purchase price, they need to counter that now, because once this offer gets moved into first position, there's not a lot of room for negotiating.
Yeah. And please use this terminology.
Yes, do not make up your own.
Yeah.
This is attorney written, equity approved.
So we've got a couple good questions here. Yeah. So Donna, where'd it go? Let me scroll it. Do you always request verifiable proof of funds for cash offers?
I do, yes. I want to know where their money's coming from.
Definitely. And we had some issues with this here a few years ago. People writing cash offers, and they're getting the cash from hard money loan.
Home line of equity.
Home line of equity, mom and dad. Those are not cash offers. And the real estate commission came down hard. And they actually made a ruling and said cash means that it's
in your
accessible
name, in
your name, not getting it from someone. So if they're already approved, nope, that's not cash. It's hard money. They're getting it from no. What if that friend ends up passing away and they can't get the cash, or mom and dad said I'm not going to give it to you guys. We're going to give it to our other kid instead. Cash is your cash, and verifiable means you can open up the bank account or the IRA or their Scottrade account or whatever it is, and they show it to you. So yes, it must be verifiable.
Yeah, and just make sure that the names on that proof of funds that they provide you match the names on the contract. Because I have seen sometimes like they'll send over a bank statement for a corporation, but the purchase is not in the corporation's name, and you have to make sure that that signer actually has access to those funds. Because I did have that come up in a transaction several years ago where they went to pull those funds and they weren't authorized to use company funds, and so that was kind of a huge issue too. So
Kristen Wiley said she's had more cash offers terminate than FHA by far. Interesting. Again, you want to make your dates and deadlines tight, and that's why you want to have good earnest money. And yeah, just because you're cash doesn't mean you're not flaky.
Exactly.
So yeah,
we just always hope that the dates and deadlines are tighter, so you have less time to be flaky. But yeah, you can absolutely have that happen.
Another great question, Jennifer. When you're negotiating with competitive offers, do you have to present those contracts for other buyers to see?
No, you are never obligated to show proof of a competing offer. You are allowed, legally, you can provide proof of a competing offer if your seller gives you permission. The only times that I think it's beneficial is if it's going to help you leverage that higher purchase price. Because a lot of people do have a hard time moving forward saying, are they being truthful? Are they not being truthful? But no, you do not have to provide proof of any offer if you don't want.
And if someone came in with an offer, this might kind of go back to escalating. This is why I don't like escalating. But let's say you have two offers and you got one's an escalating and says, hey, we'll pay $10,000 over the highest price with a max of $500,000. If that's all it says, you can counter that offer and say, we'll accept your offer at $500,000. Even though there isn't anything anything that says that there was another offer that it was escalating above. You can counter that.
Now you know their hand. Now you know how much they're willing to pay.
Now, if their offer had said, we'll pay $10,000 more, then a verifiable offer that you have in hand, non-contingent, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, now, if you want to accept their offer without countering it, you're going to have to play by the rules. But when you counter an offer and change the rules of what you're saying that you're doing, how you're playing with this escalating, well, you've set the new rules. So that's why I don't like these escalating things. Go in with your best offer and see what you can get. But no, you do not.
Yeah, and sometimes as a listing agent, it's not beneficial to show competing offers, because maybe there's other terms in the offer that aren't nearly as desirable. So for example, say someone says, we're willing to offer $5,000 over the highest offer. Boom. And then they say, we want a copy of that offer after the fact. It's not even written in, because you counter and say, hey, you guys, said you wanted to use this escalation clause. They say, well, we want proof. Well, maybe the contract that you have that is a higher purchase price has a home sale contingency. Well, when you show that offer to those other buyers, they're going to say, well, this one has a home sale contingency. Yeah. That's not nearly as good as ours. We're not going to match that purchase price wise. So there can be a few pitfalls in negotiating strategies where buyers will say, hands off. That offer is not comparable to my offer. So that's why you don't want to show.
Jessica Jones, I don't have experience with backup offers. When a buyer agrees to a backup position, can they still submit offers on other properties?
Yes, so they can absolutely submit offers on other properties. And in the language that I showed you, it does have, the last sentence states, the buyer has the right to terminate this backup offer anytime prior to the seller notifying them that it's been moved into first position. So for example, you can put in a backup offer for your buyer, yay, and then you can go out and show them other homes. You can write other contracts. If they decide they want to pursue another property, when you write another offer and it immediately gets accepted, you have to cancel that backup offer. Otherwise, they could be subject to buying two properties.
And actually, I think I would put
probably canceled before.
Cancel right before. Yeah. So
yeah.
A very close timing.
I mean, it's hard because if your buyer's in a multiple offer situation, they pull out of the backup offer, they don't get that house.
Yeah.
And then they want to submit their backup offer again. You're going to have to kind of feel things out.
And you can even write in the offer that you're writing on, subject to me canceling my backup offer on Elm Street within 2 minutes. Put something in there just so you're not double buying.
Yeah.
But yes, you give notification, which is the most important thing, to that seller, and or the seller's giving you notification that keep looking. It's okay. If you find something, go buy something else until I say, nope, you're in. So just make sure that you haven't bought something and you never told them, and now you're buying two houses.
Yeah, so, exactly.
That's an easy one to fix. But it's one that you can mess up if you didn't cancel it and you have two houses.
Exactly, exactly.
But you're all ethical. So
yes, you are absolutely ethical. What we don't want to see is you guys writing offers on multiple properties at the same time. If one's in backup position, that's absolutely fine. But don't go out and show your buyer 6 houses and submit 3 offers that very same day on different properties. That's not working in good faith.
So Paul has a question. If he's writing an offer on a property that is under contract, so it must be under contract taking backups, would I use the same buyer in backup position verbiage from the interactive contract to buy, similar to how you explained in the seller's counteroffer scenario?
Yes. So you would write your contract to buy and sell. You would cut and paste that language in section 30, additional provisions, and it gets submitted with your initial offer.
Yep.
Great question.
Good question. Because there are... Can you still do that on MLS, RE Color, market as under contract taking backup? And Stacey said, 18% of these are falling apart. So it might be worth your time to write one up.
Yep, exactly. And the other thing that you want to search in the MLS is under contract, I think it's called kickout clause. So those are the first right of refusals. So when you have a listing that has a buyer that needs to sell their home and your seller says, I want to keep marketing the property, I'll give them a 48-hour notice if another offer comes in. Those are also tagged in the MLS. So you can pull those up and search for properties if it's a very unique geographic area that your buyer wants to be in. You can look at all the under contracts that have a home sale contingency tied to them, and you can actually write an offer on those and potentially kick out the current buyer.
Yeah.
So
another good question here, Jennifer, how do I cancel the backup offer? Is there a form?
There is not a form.
So it's just an amend extend.
An amend extend.
Notification. I mean, and you can start with a quick email.
Quick email, yeah. An email and a phone call. Hey, we'd like
notification.
This serves as notice that our backup offer is terminated.
Yeah. And followed up with an amend extend, just stating we're here canceling our backup offer.
Exactly.
So good question, but no specific form.
Yeah.
No, it's a notification. So hi Diane, hi Schusters.
Oh.
What else do you guys got? Again, we try and keep these half hour. We're a little bit over that. Hopefully this was helpful, good information.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, is Julie Felsen watching today? Just because I keep talking about her. I really think I'd like to reach out to Julie Felsen and see if she can sit in. So she's an equity agent. She's doing a really good job with her buyers in getting her offers accepted in multiple offer situations. And sometimes not always the best price, not always the highest terms. But what I found in talking to her, it's all about the rapport she develops with the other agent. And so I'd like to have her on a Tuesday talk so she can talk about strategies in what she says to the other agent when she calls, what she puts in the body of her email when she sends the offer over, and how well connected and networked she is within the realtor community, that she's showing listings with realtors that know her, and those realtors are telling her sellers, Julie's going to get this done.
Yeah.
So she's a great agent. That's a reason to accept this buyer's offer, because I trust her on the other end. And she has not been in the real estate industry all that long.
No, she hasn't.
So it's not like she's, lived here and been in real estate for 40 years and knows everyone. So I'd really like for her to share
Maybe we'll get her on a Tuesday talk.
her strategies.
And anyone else. I mean, we like having you
On
guys
how
on Tuesday
she does
talk.
this,
It's
because-
fun to have you guys show us what you're doing and share it with the group here.
Because she's got some really great strategies that are not difficult that everybody can do. So
We'll reach out to her.
we're going
and
to reach
see.
out to her.
Yeah. So yeah. And again, thank you, Will and Kiefer. We've had a couple of you guys, but anyone else, we'd love to have you come on and share
what
with
you're
the
doing.
game, what you're doing. You're all doing good, and you're all doing things differently, but similarly, and it's fun to pick up on stuff. Anyway, thanks so much, guys. We went a little long. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the beautiful weather,
Yeah.
and summer starts this week. So
All right.
Saturday.
Awesome.
All right.
We'll see you guys
Take care.
soon.
See ya.
Bye.